Last episode, Wolves won their first ever European trophy, securing Champions League football ahead of Season 3, but with some priority positions needed to take this team to the next level, it's time to get down to work. Now, despite squad morale being in the best position it's ever been in before, after that historic night in the Volkspark Stadion out in Hamburg, looking at where we ended up in the Premier League table and looking at the amount of goals that we scored in comparison to the teams above us, clearly we've got some issues that we've got to address in the attacking areas of this squad. Now, for those who are firing, they are firing in all cylinders. The likes of Jurgen Strand Larsen with 16 goals, De Linge gets 19 to his name, and Pedro Gonçalves in his first season in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt getting 22 goals and 12 assists in a stellar campaign for the 26-year-old Portuguese. The problem is, though, after the departures of Pedro Neto to Arsenal and Hwang Hee-chan to Atletico Madrid, we don't have someone with the same level of quality as Pedro Gonçalves on the other side of midfield. Rodrigo Gomes joined in January, and to his credit, to be fair, he does have 2 goals in 11 appearances in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt, but with him just being 21 years of age and just 75 rated, he's certainly one for the future. And the same can be said for the 19-year-old Swede Rooney Bargi, joined at the very beginning of Season 1 at just 17 years of age, but with him still only being 74 rated and not really getting enough game time to cement a spot in my starting 11. Maybe I need to consider a loan move at the beginning of Season 3. And with the now 33-year-old Pablo Sarabia 73 rated and retiring at the end of the season, there can be absolutely no doubt whatsoever that right-hand side of midfield will be a huge priority for me at the very beginning of next season. Before we deal with that, though, we've got a departure on our hands, because after being usurped in the starting 11 by Aaron Hickey, Nelson Semedo felt that his time at Wolverhampton Wanderers had come to an end, submitting a transfer request, and after getting an offer of £14.5 million from Atletico Madrid, it was just too good of an offer for both he and the club to turn down, so he departs to the Spanish capital, meaning a right-back will be the next position on the shopping list in Season 3, and with his departure leaving us with a very handy £155 million, plus hot off the heels of us winning the Europa League last season and the board expecting us to get a Europa League spot in the Premier League, win the FA Cup, and get to the semi-final of the Champions League in our first season in the competition, I think it's time to get down to some transfer business. And sticking to the theme of wanting to keep this career mode as realistic as possible, as this young man who lit up the Eredivisie last season for Ajax has caught the eye of Wolverhampton Wanderers in real life, it makes sense and it is only right that he does the same thing here today in this career mode. He's another youngster, a 20-year-old Portuguese who will be joining the bright lights of the Premier League, as Carlos Forbes will be joining Wolverhampton Wanderers as our first signing of Season 3 for a modest fee of £16.5 million. Not only is he an exciting prospect, but he's got absolutely everything that we could want. He can play both on the right and left-hand side. He's got absolute pace to burn, and I think he could be a key figure in this Wolverhampton Wanderers rebuild. However, with Pablo Sarabia departing the club and with me looking to get a loan move for this man Rooney Bargi, plus with that modest fee still leaving me with £136 million to spend, I still feel like we need one more marquee name that will hopefully put a real marker down and make a statement ahead of the beginning of Season 3. And so that is why I'm looking to once again add to the ever-growing Portuguese contingent at the club, looking to add a player who has experience playing in the Premier League, more specifically for Wolverhampton Wanderers in the past. His loan move from Barcelona didn't quite work out the first time round, but having gone away and rebuilt his career, rebuilt his reputation, and rebuilt his confidence, he's back for a second time round, this time on a permanent basis to show the Wolves faithful what he's capable of. That is right, Francisco Trincao joins Wolverhampton Wanderers for a fee of £27.6 million. Just like his Portuguese contingent Pedro Gonçalves, he has that something special, plus he has the versatility to be able to play on the right and left hand side of midfield as well as being up front, plus with him now entering his prime years at 25 years of age and having all of the stats necessary to hopefully second time around become an icon here at Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club. He will go straight into the starting 11 on the right hand side of midfield, and hopefully both he and Carlos Forbes will be providing each other with some stiff competition across the course of the entire season. But finally, with still £103 million buffer left in the transfer budget, it's time to move on to our final target of the summer. With Nelson Semedo's departure leaving Aaron Hickey as the only recognised senior right back at the club, once again it's time to bring in some competition for the young Scotsman. And so that means once again it's time to not only bring in our third signing of the summer, but our third Portuguese signing of the summer as well. Because it's now time to bring in a man who lit up Ligue 1 for Lille in France for the last couple of years, and just like the other two new players, is ready now to take the next step in his career to the Premier League. That is right, the Portuguese Thiago Santos joins for £28 million. It's one Portuguese out in Nelson Semedo, and it's another one in to replace him in Thiago Santos, just 22 years of age. Once again, another one for the future, but at 80 rated, having some phenomenal pace and pretty good stats all across the board. I think it's going to be a real ding-dong battle between him and Aaron Hickey for that starting spot on the right-hand side of my defence this season. And so with 3 new massive signings on the books and a couple of loan moves secured, one for the 19-year-old Rooney Bargi to SC Braga for a year, and another for the future Cristiano Ronaldo wonder kid, who departs to Huesca for another 12 months as well. I think this squad is looking in tip-top condition ahead of the new season. And with the players looking incredibly sharp ahead of the new season, especially with Ryan Aït-Nouri scoring 25-yard screamers from outside of the box, this squad really looks like it's in the mood to achieve something special this season. And with Aït-Nouri showing me that my fullbacks might have the talent for me to utilise them more in central areas, I'm going to make one more slight tactical tweak ahead of the new season. That is right, I'm going to focus on my fullbacks being more inverted. It is the typical modern way of doing things. They're going to come into the centre of the park. It means my wingers are going to be staying as wide as possible to try and give as much width as they can. And hot off the heels of us winning the Europa League and Arsenal winning the Champions League in this career mode, we're going to have the opportunity to put those tactical tweaks to the test right away, as we're heading once again to another European final. This time it's the European Super Cup against an English team in the North London Giants, Arsenal, as we've got our first opportunity of Season 3 to claim yet another piece of silverware for Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's the usual starting 11 from last year, but with one change. That is right, it is a second debut in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt for Francisco Trincao. He starts on the right-hand side of midfield, but of course I do have the other new signings, Carlos Forbes and Thiago Santos, off the bench to bring on, should I need to. So here we go then to kick us off. A huge game and a huge opportunity to put a marker down and to show that Wolverhampton Wanderers mean business ahead of this new season. If we can get a win here against a huge top 6 club, we will really be showing that we are ready to fight at the top end of the Premier League table this season, as Trincao has his first opportunity to bring the ball forward and he scoots past the left back in Nuno Mendes. Brilliant stuff here. Goes past one, goes past two, goes to the edge of the box, looking for the cutback, finds the cutback of Delinga, deflects off the defender, and in the end Arsenal just able to clear their lines. Now Martinez though, round the corner into Saka. A real end-to-end start here in the opening 10 minutes of this game. Ryan Aït-Nouri can't do enough to keep the Englishman at bay, but eventually Pedro Gonçalves manages to clean up the scraps and brings the ball clear here. It's Delinga looking for the pass back into Gonçalves. Is the ball still alive? Has he managed to stay on side? It looks like he has. Pedro Gonçalves brings it all the way to the corner flag, checks back into Nunez. Nunez looking for a ball into the box to anyone, but he takes it on with his right himself. Falls to Jürgen Strand Larsen, blocked off. We've got a corner, and it's one that Pedro Gonçalves, the man of the moment, the man who lit up the Molineux last season, will take. Throws it into the box, looking for Delinga. Easy in the end for the goalkeeper. Aaron Hickey, the right back, though, to bring it away. Once again, combining with Trincao. I've got to hope that that's going to be a very fruitful relationship down that right-hand side this season. Trincao, though, on his left. Oh, my word, so close to getting his first goal back in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt. And if it wasn't for the outstretched arms of the Arsenal goalkeeper, he would have had something wonderful to celebrate. But once again, Pedro Gonçalves throws it back in, this time looking for Bueno, nods it over the bar. Saliba for Arsenal. Into Sambi Lokonga. Kimmich playing in the centre of the park here, gives it back to Sambi Lokonga, who looks for an option on the right-hand side, the left-hand side of Emile Smith-Rowe, but he gets blocked off by Gomez. Gomez can't get on the end of it, though, as Odegaard picks up the loose ball and now plays it back into Sambi Lokonga. Arsenal's real first foray into my half here, where they look like they are going to score, as Mika Marmol breaks up the attack and gives it to Trincao yet again, who has been a very, very creative spark here on this right-hand side so far in this game. He tries to play a ball through. He does play a ball through into Delinga. It's a wonderful ball through. Delinga to try and get on the goal-scoring charts. He does this season. He gets his first goal in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt this season. And Trincao gets his first assist on a wonderful second debut for the Portuguese star. Well, it seems like everything has gone through him so far in this half. I've been searching for the answer to my right-hand side of my midfield since losing the likes of Hwang and Pedro Neto. And finally, have we found exactly what we were looking for? 1-0 Wolves. And Lokonga broken up by Bueno, and once again it's Trincao who just skips past another challenge of Nuno Mendes. He really has the beating of the left back here, and look at this for pace. He just bursts away from him, looks for a ball into the box. This time it's easy for the goalkeeper, but absolutely everything is coming through the Portuguese in the first half. Saka takes it down beautifully and strides forward here. Where on earth is Ryan Aït-Nouri? Nowhere to be seen. Marmol comes across to try and challenge. He does challenge. Arsenal have a corner. It's the first corner of the game, and we are deep into stoppage time, an extended stoppage time to allow Arsenal to have this corner. It's floated in easy in the end for Ramsdale, as the referee called time on what was an absolutely electric opening 45 minutes. We've certainly been the better team. We've got the goal to show for it. Can we try and see if we can double our lead here in the second 45? Saka begins the second half for Arsenal, though, playing it into Odegaard. It's Patrick Schick onto Kimmich. Kimmich bursts into the centre, looks for Declan Rice. Arsenal now starting to turn up the heat and turn the screw a little bit more here at the beginning of this second half. Nuno Mendes being fought and hunted down by Gomez, drags him all the way to the corner flag, manages to resurrect the attack, and Declan Rice now has it on the edge of the box here. Trincao, though, doing wonders in the Arsenal half, doing wonders in our half defensively, clearing up the danger there. Absolutely wonderful stuff from the Portuguese. What a fantastic second debut for him, as Pedro Gonçalves, lovely little turn away from the Arsenal defence, plays it into Ryan Aït-Nouri. Dalinga shifts it onto his right really nicely and now has some time. In the box he goes. What a save from the goalkeeper. Or from one man showing absolutely sensational form in his debut to hopefully another. As Pedro Gonçalves departs, Carlos Forbes will get his opportunity to make his debut here in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt. No, I'm sure how much he would love to score in this final 30 minutes. It's going to be Max Kilman, though, who's going to be the man to take the resulting corner. Looks for Marmo. It falls. Oh, I thought it was going to fall to Dalinga there, but they just about did enough, Arsenal, to win the ball back in a dangerous position, and they managed to wriggle away from danger. Dalinga wins it back well, though, for Wolves. Plays it into Max Kilman, and Gomez now has some grass to run into here. Gomez looking for someone up ahead of him, doesn't find anyone. Instead manages to go to the right-hand side to Aaron Hickey. Plays it back into Trincao, took it on his left. Just about blocked off, though. Arsenal living life on the edge here. Ryan Aït-Nouri, short one into Bueno. We've got about 10 minutes remaining on the clock here to see out what will be a memorable victory here once again for Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's a lovely ball over the top, though, into Dalinga, who looks to loop it over the goalkeeper with his head. What a sensational goal that would have been, but the goalkeeper was equal to it. The right back for Arsenal to bring it forward into Saka now. They've got to try and do something to unlock what has been a solid Wolverhampton Wanderers defence so far, but in the last 5 minutes, are they going to do just that with Saka into Havertz, throws it across the box. Bueno nods it down into the former Arsenal man Ramsdale. Oh my word, a touch there, it would have gone anywhere, but fortunately he had enough composure just to see it into the goalkeeper's arms as the referee blows for full time. Well, once again, Wolverhampton Wanderers win their second European trophy of this career mode, and what a sensational way to start the beginning of a brand new season. An absolutely wonderful debut for our brand new signing Francisco Trincao, but the plaudits once again will go to my defence as Santiago Bueno, the now captain, will be the man not only to get a clean sheet, but will once again be the man, this time to lift the European Super Cup as Wolverhampton Wanderers start Season 3 with an absolute bang. What an outstanding second debut for this man, Francisco Trincao, an assist in his first game back in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt, and I'm hoping his presence on the right-hand side of midfield is exactly what this team needs heading into the new season. It seemed like he formed a wonderful partnership down the right-hand side of midfield with this man, Aaron Hickey, who has his work cut out for him trying to keep Thiago Santos at bay, and it was wonderful to see my strikers picking up from where they left off. Dalinga getting on the score sheet yet again, and he hopes to translate that form back into the Premier League. But just 5 games into the Premier League campaign, it looks like things are not going according to plan whatsoever, as we've just got 1 win to our name, 5 points on the board. We sit in 12th place. It seems like Jurgen Strand Larsen is the only man to hit the ground running with 4 goals in 6 appearances, but I'm still waiting for Pedro Gonçalves to pick up from where he left off last season. No goals to his name so far, and frustratingly it seems like Francisco Trincao could not translate that European performance into Premier League performance either. But speaking of European performance, with the Champions League now beckoning for Wolverhampton Wanderers and a group of Bayern Leverkusen, Club Brugge and Galatasaray, it's time to see if we can use this very competition to kick-start our campaign this season, as we and the fans travel all the way to Belgium to get our Champions League campaign underway against Club Brugge. And it's Barbera to kick us off now down this right-hand side. He's got the better of Ryan Aït-Nouri, and he's got a bit of space. He's got the better of him twice. He's found his way into the box. It's a really good ball in, and Ramsdale tips it over. A shaky start for Wolverhampton Wanderers. At 6s and 7s at the back, and it looks like the confidence that we began the season with has been drained over the course of just 5 games. My word, we've got to get our act together here as Pedro Gonçalves skips away from one challenge and drives into the Club Brugge half here. He's got the pace to skip away from the challenge of the defenders, and he goes all the way into the box here, takes it on his left. That is absolutely sensational, and that is exactly the sort of thing we saw him do time after time after time again in Season 2, and finally he starts to do it here in Season 3. He had all the work to do, picked it up on the edge of his own half, ran past the challenge of the final defender and absolutely drilled it into the back of the net. The goalkeeper flashed across him. He was just too slow. The strike was too hard, and Wolverhampton Wanderers take the lead here in the Champions League 1-0. Vanaken, though, blocked off by Ryan Aït-Nouri. Once again, Club Brugge trying to bring the ball forward, but once again we managed to win it back. We're going to try and see if we can hit them on the counter-attack, but this time Pedro Gonçalves isn't able to get the better of Williams, and now Club Brugge once again can bring it forward. It's a real ding-dong battle down this right-hand side between Barbera and Ryan Aït-Nouri, and at the moment the Club Brugge midfielder is getting the better of it as he throws it into the box, headed clear once again by the Wolves defence, and now Trincao has got to try and see if he can uplift us here. But it's Matheus Nunes now for Wolves, plays it back into Pedro Gonçalves, who seems to now have the bit between his teeth here, and once again he bursts into the Club Brugge box, cuts it back for Nunes on his left, blocked off by the defender just about. We keep the ball alive though with Nunes once again, shifts it round the corner into Gonçalves, Pedro Gonçalves around the clock, into Aït-Nouri, tries to play it in, good block off by the defender. We've got another corner. It will be Pedro Gonçalves with the corner, throws it into Dalinga, headed away there by Ager, only out as far as Bueno. Bueno knocks it down into Santos. That wasn't the ball I was trying to play there, and has the momentum slightly gone out of the attack, but Gonçalves has it once again, into the box it goes with Dalinga. What a save from the former Leeds man Meslier. Strand Larsen picks it back up, Gomez to strike. Once again it's blocked off, so many bodies in the box. Club Brugge just about clear their lines. As Marmol floats it right the way over to Trincao, who's been very quiet so far in this game, hasn't really been able to resurrect that fabulous performance that he put on in front of the Arsenal fans in the European Super League. But he's dancing his way, weaving around, trying to get away from the right back, and he now manages to get into the box here, lays it on a play for Jürgen Strand Larsen. And the young man has to do better from that distance. We've got another corner though. Once again it's Gonçalves, floats it into the box, headed away, peppering this Club Brugge goal here, looking for the second that I believe we deserve here as Strand Larsen with the header. It's tame into the arms of Meslier as the referee blows for half time. Well, there's no doubt as we begin this second half, we've been the better of the two teams. We've created the most chances, we've created the better chances, but at the moment we've only got a 1-goal margin to show for it. We've got to make sure that we hold on to that and hopefully double our lead here in the second half. Trincao takes it on with his back to goal. Nowhere to go here as Club Brugge pressing us really high up the pitch man for man. We're trying to see if we can wiggle away from danger here. Nunes plays it into Aït-Nouri, and finally we've got a bit of space to burst forward. Aït-Nouri into Pedro Gonçalves, who just shifts the challenge round the man and plays it into the box, looking for the ball into Strand Larsen. Got that header all wrong. In the end it's easy for Club Brugge to deal with. And with Francisco Trincao putting in a fairly anonymous performance, once again Carlos Forbes has another opportunity to stake a claim in the starting 11. But it's Pedro Gonçalves who picks it up from the throw from Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri now has space to try and pick out a man in the box here. Who's he going to look for? Checks it back. Once again the ball is not right. And once again Club Brugge clear their lines. Puts it right up the pitch, looking for Igor Thiago. Wins the ball back well, and now Vanaken brings it forward back into that man Igor Thiago. But it's Totti Gomez also on as a sub. Wins it back well, plays it into Gonçalves, skips away from another challenge. It's been a really good and positive performance from the Portuguese down that left-hand side. Exactly what I want to see from him. And now he tries to float it into the right-hand side. Blocked off though by the defender. But that's exactly the sort of lung-bursting and driving run I want to see. It's Barbera though, once again down that right-hand flank. He's checked back, trying to get away from Ryan Aït-Nouri. This time the young man wins the ball back from him. Those two have been absolutely at it all game. Gomez though, this game's starting to get a little bit stretched here. That's a wonderful ball into Jürgen Strand Larsen, surely to put the game to bed. Oh, he's put it wide instead. Carlos Forbes into Santos. Santos has a ball forward, back into Jürgen Strand Larsen, hoping to do a little bit better this time round. Into the box he goes, and he does just that. It's off the post and in, and with just under 10 minutes remaining, is that game set and match here in Belgium. Well, it was a poor finish for his earlier chance, but he made no mistake the second time round. Lovely done, absolutely pin-perfect goal to get his second of the game and to get Wolverhampton Wanderers second of the game, and hopefully that means it's our first 3 points in the Champions League. Nunes now with time to float a ball over to Carlos Forbes, who nods it down. It's not a particularly good nod down, it must be said. And we've given the ball away in a really dangerous position there. Igor Thiago to bring it forward. It's been chased down by Bueno. Eager to keep hold of that clean sheet, but it's into the box, into Alvaro, into Vanaken, into Barbera, who's been the man of the match for Club Brugge all game, it must be said, and a goal is nothing less than the young man deserves. Well, Bueno and Marmol will be very disappointed, as it was just all too easy for Club Brugge just to ghost and play their way through my defence, and perhaps that is systematic of exactly what Premier League defences are doing. It doesn't matter here today, as it's just a consolation, but frustration all round from the away travelling fans, as Barbera's goal means at full time it finishes Club Brugge 1, Wolves 2. Well, we got the 3 points, that's the most important thing, and we start off our Champions League campaign with a victory. But is that defensive fragility showing that things aren't quite right at the back this season for Wolverhampton Wanderers? Especially in the second half of the season, the combination of Ramsdale, Bueno and Mika Marmol were absolutely sensational defensively, meaning that I put on hold spending the rest of this £75 million budget. And and put my faith in those very players this season. However, with sloppy goals like that in the Champions League conceded, and with 7 goals conceded in just 5 games so far in the Premier League, do I need to make a bold decision in that area of the pitch as we come to the January transfer window? But as we progress through the season to that very window, it seems like the team have heeded my warnings, because we've managed to catapult ourselves back up the table now into 6th spot, and look at that defensive record, just 20 goals conceded, which is very much level with the teams in and around us. And after topping our Champions League group unbeaten in the group stage with 14 points, we've been drawn in a titanic clash against Juventus in the round of 16. But whilst my defence may have done enough to show me that I don't need to make any more immediate decisions in that area of the pitch, with this £77 million still burning a hole in my pocket, and somehow with Mario Lemina, despite him still having 6 months left on his contract, being able to depart to West Ham United on a free transfer immediately, I've got to turn my attention to the centre of the park as the next area that I've got to improve. Now, João Gomez and Matheus Nunes had formed a sensational partnership right in the heart of my midfield, with them both being 85 and 84 rated respectively, but with me still wanting to have someone good enough to be an able deputy in their absence, and also with me wanting me to bring back some experience into this squad after the departure of the 30-plus-year-old Lemina, I think it makes complete sense to bring in a veteran, a man not just with experience at the highest level, but experience in the Champions League as well, as the Spaniard, the 31-year-old Saul, will return to the Premier League and join Wolverhampton Wanderers from Atletico Madrid for £11 million. After the influx of such young players with high potential, I'm hoping that the experienced veteran will add a calm head to the centre of the park and will allow this team to flourish heading into the second half of the season. But as we fast forward towards the end of the season, it's 50-50 whether or not that new signing had the exact desired effect, because unfortunately his Champions League pedigree didn't seem to have much of an impact on this group, as unfortunately in the round of 16 we got knocked out by Juventus 3-2 on aggregate. We got knocked out of the 6th round of the FA Cup as Arsenal got retribution against us, beating us 2-1, and the North London club did the double over us in domestic competitions, because after beating us 5-4 on penalties in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, it means that with the exception of the European Super Cup, this team will be trophyless this season. It's better news in the Premier League though, because after a shocking start we managed to resurrect our good fortunes, and whilst we didn't manage to get Champions League football, we will be playing in Europe once again. We get in 5th place, and I think we've reached the ceiling of exactly where this squad can take us. Matthias de Ligt seemed to have a fantastic campaign, getting 26 goals to his name in his best performance so far in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt, now getting himself up to an 85 rated. Pedro Gonçalves now up to 88, chips in with 19 goals and 15 assists in another stellar campaign for the Portuguese, and Jürgen Strand Larsen yet again 15 goals to his name in a wonderful campaign. Ironically, Carlos Forbes actually outscored Francisco Trincao, who really didn't have the desired effect I was hoping for. He got 5 assists, but only 3 goals to his name, and it's not the return to the Premier League that the 26-year-old was hoping for. On paper though, at least, it looks like, judging from the rest of my squad, that if we are going to take that next step into qualifying for the Champions League via the Premier League, I'm going to have to make some bold decisions about this defence. They've been good for me across the course of this career mode, but with the likes of Rayan Aït-Nouri, with the likes of Santiago Bueno, and the likes of Mika Marmo only rated at a highest of 81, is it finally time for me to break up that defensive partnership and bring someone in who's going to hopefully take this team to the very next level? But if I am, that is something that you're going to have to find out in Season 4, because that is going to be that for the end of today's episode. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.